important is selecting your company name when you're setting up your business for federal contracting?
Okay. Your company name is, I'll say, somewhat important. And if you are just going through the process of setting up the business right now, there are probably some things that you can do to better position your business if you have not already come up with a name or registered the name, or even registered the business and gone to sam.gov and all the steps, right? If you haven't done that yet, there probably are some advantages to being a little bit more selective with your name. But if you already have selected a name and you already have a business registered with your state and in sam.gov, it's not necessarily the end of the world. And we're going to cover a lot of what I mean by that and some things that you can do in other questions in today's training. But just initially, how important is it? It's somewhat important. And let's get more into why that is.
What if your company name is for one service like ABC Janitorial, but you want to pursue other opportunities outside of janitorial?
So if you are ABC Janitorial, I don't know if that company actually exists or not, and you want to go after opportunities that are not janitorial on sam.gov in federal contracting, first off, you can, just so you know. You can do that. You might get, some funny looks depending on how drifted from janitorial those opportunities are that you're pursuing, but you can do it. There's nothing in a proposal evaluation factor or proposal instructions that say company name must be reflective of this scope of work. Okay, just doesn't happen, right? But however, I certainly understand how it might feel a little bit awkward to you, and you actually may get a little bit more questions or even potential pushback, not just from contracting, but more so like if you're calling around teaming partners, because that could definitely potentially raise a red flag for them, even though it's not a real red flag. If you're registered on sam.gov, your sam.gov registration essentially is your avatar, your profile, your website, if you will. That's where contracting goes to vet your company. But teaming partners, they don't know about that, right? So they're going to do the usual things, and your company name being off could certainly be something that puts them off a little bit. But technically speaking, it's not a problem, and you can bid as ABC Janitorial on an IT contract if you want to, for example.
Do you have any naming recommendations or guidelines for those who are naming their business now?
So I've gotten this question a number of times, like, hey, Derek, do you have any tips? What's a good name, etc.? One thing that I've seen done, and it's up to you, I don't know if you've heard others say it or not, but sometimes it can be good to show up at the top of a list of other companies. So having your company name start with the letter A, or maybe even AA, Aaron, Aardvark, whatever, right? You get the point. These things can almost guarantee that your name goes to the top of any sort of list. Now, if you were to actually flesh out the importance of that, I don't know. Again, just like my answer, generally speaking, it's not overly important, but that is a little bit of a tactic if it's something that you think is meaningful that you could use. Other people I've seen actually just use their name, like first and last, and that's their company. So there's really, all across the gamut here, across the spectrum of different ways to approach this. You can make your company sound super official, have federal in the name as well, but you just want to make sure not to swing too far in any particular direction. And that's really the art of it over the science. But here's maybe a couple of things that, these are a couple of things that maybe you haven't thought of or considered yet.
Do you need to set up a new company with a new cage code?
You can. If at the end of the day, if this is something that's really going to bug you, you can just do everything new again. If you haven't really done anything with your company to this point, you can dissolve it and start a new one. But if you already have a company, if you already have certain things going on, that's not going to be what you want to do, right? I've also seen some people where they open up a secondary company and maybe they have a commercial business, but they want to have a new company set up just for federal contracting, and they like it. It's a preference. It's almost like a an OCD thing. It's like there's almost a bit of an anxiety around like, I need it to be perfectly organized. I need things to be this way. And continually the answers are like, technically you don't, right? But if it's something that's going to help you sleep at night, or if you're coming up against some sort of pushback, you can. So yeah, you can always open up a new company and get a new cage code under a new name. You can always do that. But once again, it is going to be up to you to decide if that's going to be worthwhile to you. Are you losing that much peace of mind that, I'll just feel better if I do this, right? You can, but if you're in the middle of the busy season, or you have certain things like set-asides or whatever tied to the other company, it's going to be, harder to get away from that, because you'll just have to redo all those steps again. You don't necessarily want to do that.
Is there anything you can do without changing your company name?
So one thing that you can do, maybe you haven't thought of, is a DBA. You haven't thought of it, but you know what it is. Maybe you're like, oh, why didn't I think of that? So DBA, doing business as. So lots of people do this, where they have the company, but then they have a name that they register with Secretary of State in whatever state you're incorporated in, typically. I believe if you're a sole proprietor, then you do it with your county. You'll have to look into it. Don't quote me on that. But you can set up a DBA for your company that you have registered, in your state, and then you can operate under the DBA. So that way, when you come to your proposals and whatnot, you can just have the DBA name listed without having the LLC or S corp, whatever you are, actual name listed. And then when you go to do your website or whatever, have all that flow through. And that could be somewhat of a fix. Certainly doesn't permanently change the name of the company or anything like that. But it's, the forward-facing, the front end of things, it may be just enough of a solution for you to kind of pacify or calm the anxiety or wanting all the ducks to be perfectly in a row, right? Or even, like I said, from the teaming partner standpoint, if you're calling around and you're doing business as this company, it may be just enough to calm any sort of, questions or potential concerns.
How does building an umbrella help when naming your company?
So if you haven't done this yet, it's a good time for you. If you already have, consider some of the things that I've said so far. But this is why, amongst other reasons, why I'm so consistent about educating you guys on building an umbrella with your business, because it also ties to your naming and your setup and your offer and your NAICS codes and the services that you go after and your CAPE statements and your websites and your proposals. Like, everything flows down. An umbrella is a strategic positioning move. It positions you to win, a better position to win. And that umbrella comes with an umbrella statement. So for example, you could be ABC Janitorial, as we said. But what if your, whatever you wanted your business name to be, what if you're operating through the umbrella of instead of janitorial, you are in facilities, right? Janitorial is a component of facilities, but it's not only janitorial. So the more strict, narrow niche you are, the less wiggle room you're going to have. And guess what? Since you don't know what your first or next federal contract is going to be, you can't start operating as if you know what that is. So when you operate from an umbrella, instead of ABC Janitorial, you can be ABC Facilities. If you haven't set up yet, I just couldn't recommend it more, implementing an umbrella, because there's really no reason not to. You get to define what facilities is, literally down to NAICS codes and services being offered, which affects the proposals that you go after and everything that I already said, right? But if you're pigeonholing yourself and you decide to move, then you're done, right? You've got nowhere to move. You've painted yourself essentially into a corner. And you're not getting so far away from where you want to be or where you think you want to be, right? But having that umbrella, instead of janitorial, you have facilities, or you have base ops, or you have professional services. These are all examples of common umbrellas, guys. Even, instead of just being into siding or roofing or fences, you're a general contractor. Like, construction started the whole concept of an umbrella. Look at all the projects you can do in construction under the umbrella of being a GC. That is an umbrella. Okay, we're just taking that concept and applying it to a broader approach to services or supplies or whatever. And those are three that I recommend a lot: professional services, right? Base ops, facilities, being a GC. You know, these are ways to get you thinking about this. And when you approach it this way, all these kinks, all these problems, they really don't exist. You don't get too many funny looks. You don't get funny questions. You get to define what that is. If you have to change NAICS codes in your profiles, it's not a problem. It's all good. So, I mean, if I'm catching you at the right time, I really hope you're going to consider it. If you've already done it, it's okay. Consider a DBA. If you're not going to sleep at night, feel free to set up a new company, but just know technically you do not have to.
Bonus question. If you could instantly master one skill, what would it be?
For me, there's probably a number of things, but I would say piano. I always thought it was cool if you're going someplace, somebody's house, or you're in the mall or whatever, and there's just a lone piano sitting there, to be able to just pick up and play something epic. I enjoy watching those videos, and I always thought that was pretty cool. And if you were to write music or whatever, a lot of the music and songwriting process starts with a melody. You kind of attach the lyrics to it later. And that's something that I've also wanted to do, but because I'm not musically inclined in that way, I've been a drummer for a number of years, but that's not melodic, right? So guitar, any sort of rhythm, I don't have the instruments for other than drums. I don't have guitar, I don't have piano or whatever. So that would be it for me. Now, guys, proposal writing is incredibly important. I would say it's even more important than ever, especially with the AI government contract writing softwares just pushing out every which way. You need to know what right looks like, and that's why I've created GovRFP. It's my proposal writing system that I've really dialed in the last 12 months, that I've been teaching to my students for months. And kind of my thank you for sticking around to the end of the video is I've unlocked the first 3 entire modules, not lessons, but modules, right? There's a number of lessons in every single module to totally free. And you just need an email address to log in and sign that. And if you do decide that you want to get the entire GovRFP training, you can do that. But this way, you can check it out and see if it makes sense for you where you're at. And if you're watching a video like this, my guess is it probably can serve you and benefit you in some way. So you can go to GovKidMethod.com to get that. Just click on the GovRFP tab at the top of my website, and you'll be able to unlock those modules for free. Now, also, guys, not only is GovRFP and proposal writing essential, and if you're not in a place that you can do that, but you can keep watching videos here on YouTube to learn, I also just created a video on how to take your proposals from good to great. In that video, I show you some of the secret sauce and secret tips that I often don't talk about. So also consider checking out that video. You'll see it popped up here somewhere on the screen. Guys, we're the fastest growing, or one of the fastest growing federal contracting YouTube channels. Give us a subscribe so you don't miss out on future trainings. And until the next time, guys, thanks for watching. Check out this next good to great video, and we'll see you in the next one.